Hey, what's up guys? This is 3D Bonfire back with an amazing tutorial. This time we talk about this crazy inflated, deflated, cloth-like figures, balloons. And we will talk about vertex maps to change materials, change the behavior. So this is inflated, this is deflated, it is shrinking down. How to do that I will show you in this tutorial. So I think the results, they are quite pleasing. Also there is a close-up. Man, the materials, they also look quite lovely, so beautiful stuff there. Of course, I try to push this concept even further, so I have a couple of videos for you. Let's look at this one. Not completely sure about the dark theme here. It looks like some alien stuff, but in another way, I like it, so it is cool. So you can see it here. Also, what I did there is combine it even with some tearing. So you can see, if you look closely, this is ripping apart here. It's opening to the inside. And I think this is also a quite beautiful effect. Let's watch one more video of a close-up. So here the tearing is quite obvious. It almost looks like gold foil in the end. So interesting. What do we have here? One more camera angle. I just changed the colors a little bit. I still like the look of it. And here is something with green. Okay. And I think here the material even has some thickness. Of course, you can do that with the cloth tag, but I will also show you how to do that stuff. Okay, so enough of the rambling about how beautiful this is. Let's get started. Alright guys, so before we really get started in Cinema 4D, just let me quickly tell you something about me. So I go by the name 3D Bonfire, at least that's my name on YouTube and Patreon. So on YouTube you can see I already managed to do a couple of tutorials. I hope they are really helpful, so if you want to learn more stuff, try that place, okay? Just look for this one. And I think if you are interested in cinema, octane and X-particles and just in CGI, this is the right place for you. If you want to be my personal hero, yes, you can also support me on Patreon. So there is, for short amount of money, you get quite cool stuff. So I will push this project really far this year. I just started with it, but yes, this will be a new tutorial soon. This one is Patreon exclusive. Also, this will turn into a tutorial, so how to make this face slap deformation. Yes, awesome stuff there. And of course, sometimes to my YouTube tutorials, part 2 is Patreon exclusive, where I just take it a bit further and tell you something about backgrounds and lighting and stuff. So I will really push this project really hard this year. And yeah, it would mean the world to me if you can support me there. On Instagram, you find me by Markus Gonser 3D. So if you want to see some of the stuff that will turn into tutorials, this is the right place, so you can also check that stuff out. Okay, enough of the rambling about me, let's get into the technique. Alright, this is my Cinema 4D scene, and you can see the setup is pretty simple. So we have an octane light, some camera, sky, some effectors here, and one object with some magic ingredients is here, and some instances to get more of that. But yes, we will start from scratch, so why don't we just open a new project and yeah, start here. Alright, so I just got rid of the Octane viewport, so we have more screen estate for our modeling. And maybe I just open a picture once again, so you can see the base form as something like long cylinders or tubes, and they are melted together. So maybe, I'm sorry, I just opened this once again and go back to frame 0. So we have the initial state here, and you can see, so we have something like this. So looks like a crazy glove with multiple fingers. They are melted together. So I think this is just an interesting figure, and I would just show you how to build this one. So back to our scene, let's get started with the modeling. Alright, I just try to remember how I did it. So I think I would just use a capsule, press NB to show me the wireframe. And then I just stretch this a little bit. Maybe something like this. This seems to be enough. So let's go to our attribute manager. And I think we need definitely more segments there. Maybe we also put some in the cap, and the rotation seems fine for me. So this is one beautiful sausage here, right? NA, or just go here to get rid of the wire shading. All right, so I think it is already time to just grab our Bezier tool, press F2 for the right view, and I could have gone with this one, but I just make some more points, and I would say make a Bezier spline out of it. F1 for your perspective viewport, and I just pressed, what did I press for the magnet? Let's see, it's MI. So this is the magnet tool, and I just like to use it to simply give this a little bit more of perspective. So why don't we, maybe this is a little bit too complex already. Let's go with a simpler shape. Yes, maybe a little bit more perspective. Something like that. All right. So we have a capsule and a spline. Interesting. Maybe just to match it a little bit better, I would say we increase it a little bit, and we also increase the radius. I guess something like this would even work better. All right. So how about spline wrapping? You don't know it? You should learn this. So put a spline in it, and voila, we have a beautiful stretching. Okay, not the desired look we are aiming for, so why don't we just press the y-axis? And I think, yeah, looks like a little worm here. Maybe we just spice this up. So go back to my magnet tool, and I think I make another spline here. I just duplicated it. All right, so hold down STRG and you can duplicate your spline. Maybe I already duplicate this one, go there and just drag this one in. So you can see we have two of them. I just go back to my second spline, go into the magnet. I just offset this a little bit, maybe something like this. I mean, do whatever you want. I just thought this is a funny shape, something like that. All right, so maybe I just duplicate them as packages. So we have a version 2, put this one in and do the same stuff again. So you can see this is a little bit repetitive, but hey, we are artists and sometimes you have to be a little bit patient, put some labor in it, right? So maybe something like this. I think we do one more version. So grab both of them and put this one in here. Go there, grab your magnet, and I think I just want to, yes, something like that. And where is it? It's this one. Maybe something like this. I'm sorry, I lied. One more version, okay? So I think you can manage this. This time I just make a shorter version, and let's grab it. And let's say, so this one, yeah, I'm not sure if this is so beautiful, but why don't we do something like this? All right, so we have a couple of capsules and splines. What can we do next? All right, so far so bad. This looks kind of ridiculous, but we will spice it up. Maybe I just try something. Just give them a little bit different radii. See, maybe this is also thick. And for example, this one will be a bit thinner. Yeah, just to have more variation in it. All right, so I think I just go the brutal way, put everything in a connect object, and we have something like that. I mean, this is really destructive, so you need to be sure what you want to do, but yes, I know what I want to do, so this is fine for me. I just move my axis a little bit. Yeah, I can do that by hand. Maybe there, all right. Now I think it is time to grab a volume builder and a measure. Put the builder in the measure, put the connect into the builder. And now you can see, now this is really melting together, that we have one continuous object. All right, so I'm not an expert with this one, but let's see when I change the voxel size. This is not intentional, so maybe, let's see, what can I do here? Okay, fog. Interesting. Okay, I never changed this really, so let's go back here, and we have one continuous object. I think we, what can we do here? Maybe I just duplicate the connect, rotate it around this axis, something like that. Maybe I just put it there, and okay, not completely sure what I want to do. Maybe I just melt another object into it, try to get the direction better. Maybe something like this. I mean, this looks kind of funny, right? All right. So I thought I need an OpenVDB measure to get some smoothing, but maybe I should have thought more about what the volume builder can actually do for me. And of course, there is some additional smoothing functions. So we don't need to be satisfied with something like that, because that's kind of ugly. But of course, we have some smoothing and some additional stuff here. So why don't we just try some smoothing filter on it? And with the basic setup, I am already more than pleased here. So this is super smooth. I'm just curious what happens when I put this one on it. Okay. Seems to give it more volume. And when I press -10, it takes away. Okay, so, but we don't really need that kind of stuff. So this is a perfect shape for us. And I think since I'm totally destructive here, I just grab a connect, put it inside of it, bam. So we have one polygon object here. It is quite dense, but I think this will help us with the resolution. And yes, so this is already a super good start. So let's see what we can do next. All right, I just quickly open up this picture here. So you can see this is more or less our base shape. Now we need to talk about how we get this beautiful wrinkle. So you can see the material consists of two parts, and we change this with a vertex map, okay? So there is something growing, like a black and white texture, for example. In this case, it's a vertex map, and where it changes its value, we exchange the material, and the second material or selection will react to something that is turning it into a cloth behavior, all right? So let's think about how we can achieve this result. Let's go back to Cinema. All right, so what can we do with this? I think we should first go to the points mode, press STRGA or Control A, select all points, and now go to Selection, say Set Vertex Weight and put it to 0. So now this is like an empty space that we can fill with fields, for example. So we want to switch the status from 0 to 100. And you can do that if you want to go to your freeze status in the field. And why don't we just set this one to grow? But now we need something where it can start to grow. So why don't we start with a spherical field? All right, so you can see when I touch my my object, inside the field, change the status from 0 to 100. Now you just have to decide where you want to start it to grow. And I think it would be nice if it is a little bit hidden behind something. So maybe there, maybe there. So when we watch our object here, it is coming from behind and then it is growing. So let's see how this is looking. Is there already happening something? Yes, okay. All right, so I'll just give it a couple of more frames. Let's see. So this is okay. This is quite cool. I didn't expect it to leave some areas behind it, so that actually shouldn't happen. Let's see if our selection, everything is correct. Yes, okay, it's just one connected hull, one object. So wasn't expecting these holes, but I think maybe it just has to do with the search radius. Let's see with 20 what is happening now. All right, okay. So now you can see we have continuous filling of our object, and this is a pretty good start. So we change the status of our object, and I think we can let me just make another spherical field. And why don't we go to this one? And I think we can put this one. Maybe we also want to start our animation from, let's see, I just like to start with it off camera. So put it back there. Let's see. Let's check this once again. Okay. Sorry, once again. All right, I think this is really cool. And now it is getting slowly to the rest of it. All right, so you can see I don't need that many frames, so let's stick to 150. Okay. All right, so maybe it is not a good idea to just duplicate it here, but to just add a spherical field here, do this step once again, so put it back there. And I would say this is a good place for it. Go back to our camera angle. I would say it's like this, and check it once again. All right, so yes, this is really cool. So 120 frames is enough. Okay, perfect. Okay, but I have to say how it is spreading, this is super boring. So I think it is time for some beautiful noises, right? Let's add a random field there. Not as cool as you expected maybe, so maybe we just put this to, let's see, 1000. All right. Put this to overlay. Does it change anything? Oh, not so much. Let's see. All right, so sorry, I just needed to pause for a second. So in the meantime, I duplicated this random field and I just changed the scale of it. So I was thinking I get a noise pattern that is more obvious with a bigger scale, but I just needed to go down to something more decent. So you can see now this is perfectly even almost without the random field, but with it you get a nice border there. So this is more organic and I think I really like this one. Also, I mix some additional random field in it, one more, just put them all to overlay. I'm not sure if this adds a lot, but this is, for me, I think this is making the border even more uneven. So this is something I am happy with. So now we need to think, what can we do with this? So let's see what we can do next. All right, so I think it is time to transform this one into a cloth object. Okay, so therefore we just go to simulation, put a cloth tag on it with gravity. So now this will fall down, but since our object is quite dense already and cloth is not so super fast, we get a slow frame rate per second, but as I said, so this is just reacting to its gravity. Alright, of course, if your system is powerful, then you have a better frame rate per second. Or if your system is as weak as mine and you are not so patient, you could do the same technique with an object that is not so highly subdivided and repeat it with a more subdivided object, or use a clever trick with the mesh deformer, but we won't talk about this today. So let's see. We have a cloth tag, and for now I just say gravity is 0. So it is static, but it is made of cloth. Alright. And now I think it is time to go press Shift C. And why don't we just add a turbulence effector that will react with our cloth system. And I think when I do it right now, the whole object, give it some time, not a big reaction there. I think the strength is just too weak, and give it some scale. Let's see. Alright, so you can see something interesting happens here. Something we really like. Alright, so you can see the turbulence is interacting with it and is giving it this really nice wrinkles and turbulent behavior. And this is almost what we want, right? So this is looking super cool. And when you put this one into an additional, let's put it in a cloth surface and then in a subdivision surface, maybe, okay, so this is intense. Get rid of this subdivision, put this one to 0, and here I just put it to 1 by 1, but you can already see you get beautiful wrinkles there. Even with a subdivision of 2.2, it will be even better. Let's just continue for maybe 10 frames. Alright, that's enough. So maybe I just give this 2 divisions. Alright, and you can see this is a beautiful abstract sculpture. It even looks like little hands, right? So crazy. That's cool. But we don't want to have the effect all the time on the whole object. So we want to control this turbulence, the fall off, with our vertex map. Alright. And the vertex map, you remember, it is giving us a division between influenced parts and non-influenced areas like 0 and 100 and a gradient between it. So now I think maybe just say the turbulence is influenced by the vertex map. We should have some effect like this. Let's see. Okay, so I have to admit the feedback in the scene is pretty slow when you just try to playback it. Yeah, cloth is not the fastest system, but it is still powerful. So the truth is I just got to cache and I calculated the cache. Okay, so you can see quite a lot of memory here, and now at least I can scrub through my timeline. Maybe not scrubbing, but jumping. So you can see a couple of frames there, but I also did a RAM preview. So when you go to make preview, you can do that. And I already did it. So you can see here, this is what we are aiming for. Make this a bit bigger. And this really looks like fingers, right? Okay. So now you can see the effect is spreading from the areas we defined previously. And this is a beautiful effect. And of course, in After Effects, I would suggest or encourage you to give this a little bit speed ramp. So something like this. So fast and then slow. All right. So this is the effect you go for. But After Effects, this is simple stuff. So putting a speed ramp on it, I leave this to you. Now we have the behavior of our strange figure. Now we want to do the same with the materials. So I think it is time to fire up Octane and do something with materials and lighting. Alright, so my system crashed really bad. So I just opened up my original scene file to explain the last step with it. So let's just quickly see here. So what I did is I have an Octane light at the top. So I think the scene is already a little bit slow. Let me just uncheck this one, get out of the camera, and you can see I have just one long thin light here just to get some additional highlights in the reflection. So this is basically this light bar there. This is the octane light. I have a plane, and this is just a little backdrop here, so nothing special. On it I just put some wooden texture. Also no surprises there, just be creative. I have two cameras. So this is my main camera. This one is a crap camera, forget about it. And I have two octane skies, as you already saw how to do it. Put one to visible, one to primer if you need that kind of stuff, and play with HDRIs how you like it. So you can of course just rotate this one and get a different lighting scenario. I just like to work with HDRIs because you get beautiful results quite easily and let yourself surprised by how it is looking. So I also like when I rotated it a bit there, so this is also super beautiful. Alright, so what I also did, this is my main object. In this case I used an OpenVDB, but this is your object. I made a couple of instances with it, so just to fill up my scene. And now let's finally talk about this material. This is the only interesting part here, I would say, and this is also quite simple. So use an octane composite material or an octane mix material, and all you have to do is to put into the amount slider. So with the mix material, it is called amount, two materials, and you mix it with a vertex map. So you can drag the vertex map node, and there you just drag in your vertex map, and voila, you already have this beautiful separation by the vertex map. So super simple, and I just love it. So what I have here is just a metallic material in octane and one translucent material. And I think this is all of the magic we have here. So simple stuff, but the result is beautiful. Okay, I'm sorry guys, maybe I just make some points a little bit clearer here. So I think I wasn't too precise with the material, so let me just check this one once again. And as you can see, this is just another version of the same scene file, but this time I just color graded it differently, or I think I just switched the light and the materials. So yes, you can easily vary this and turn it into whatever look you prefer. So in this case, I went with a dark look and it is turning into this red jelly. And let me just quickly check the material. So as I said, this is really simple. I use an octane composite material, so you can find it there. But of course, as I already mentioned, you can use a mixed material. It's pretty much the same, right? And to what's the right word? To change from one to the other material, I use my vertex map. So just little repetition here. And you can see in this case, my first material is a metallic. So this is the black one, all right? And there is nothing special about this one. And the second one is, let me see. The second one has some RGB in the transmission. So it is a specular material. It has a color in the transmission. So you can see I tinted it yellow. You can see it there. And the absorption medium will give it, depending on the thickness, different color tones. So just play with this one. And I just wanted to show you this to tell you you can easily do different variations and achieve beautiful results. Maybe one more thing. When I zoom in, the scene will allow me to do that. Okay, so you can see there is something going on here, holes in my surface, and I don't want to go into depth here because the look will look cool without these little holes. But in that case, I just activated tear in my cloth and played with the values. All right. Maybe one more thing. Of course, yes, there is a cloth collider on it. I think it helps to prevent the intersections with the cloth. And other than that, I think this is all to the scene. So maybe we look at one more variation, and then I think you just have everything at your fingertips. Alright, maybe one more scene file. So in that case, it's pretty much the same scene. You can see I just switched the camera, so I made multiple versions there, searched for a cool angle, and I think this is a nice angle. And you can see this time I switched the material and I made two versions with it. So wow, look at this madness here. This looks so cool. I didn't render this version out, but maybe I will make an animation with this look. This looks also beautiful. And I just wanted to make sure for you, please play with this technique. You can easily get different results by just changing your material in your composite or mix material. And for example, in that case, I played with the cloth surface with the thickness. So this is thickness 1 and this is thickness 6. And when you have a material that has something like a medium or translucency, you play with the thickness, then you can get really crazy results, right? So you will change how the light penetrates through the object, and this is what you get. So really, really cool stuff, man. Alright guys, this is it. So I hope you had a little bit of fun and learned something new. Consider to support me by giving it a thumbs up or subscribe, or even go to my Patreon and become a Patreon. That would be awesome. Alright guys, see you next time. Bye.